Let me say something before we get started here. This has been weighing on me on my chest, and I'm getting it off my chest right here today.
Welcome on into the very first episode of the Block C Show. I'm your host, Charlie Drafts, and this is my co-host, Ryan Hood.
What's going on, family?
Today we're going to talk a little bit about the bowl game. Obviously a great win by the Gamecocks. We're going to pick our offensive and defensive MVPs for the season. We're going to touch on some of Spurrier's statements over the year, especially his last one where he said there's going to be no more coaching changes till after the signing day. We're going to talk a little bit about Black Monday because it is the firing day in the NFL. We're going to talk about Connor Shaw's performance. And we're also going to talk about the quarterback for next year for the Gamecocks.
Very hot topic.
So, Ryan, tell me what your thoughts were on the bowl game, the Duck Commander Independence Bowl.
Yeah, the Miami game. To me, this is one of the better games of the season. It was a close game that we came out on top. The only other close game I can think of that we actually came away with a W was the Florida game. And as most fans know, that was a very gut-wrenching and down-to-the-wire game. But this game showed that we can win with this group. We can win close games with this group of young talent that we have. And, they basically, team-wise, statistically outgained us in everything. They had more yards, more first downs, held a time of possession, but we won the turnover battle. In games like these, that's the difference.
Yeah, definitely. Jonathan Walton had a really great game. The overall stats wasn't there for him. I think that's maybe why he didn't get the defensive player of the game, defensive MVP. But those plays that he did have were huge for us, and he's turned out to be a great player this year. Obviously, Pharaoh Cooper had an amazing game. The great catch he had, set up a huge play for us. I think he ended with 9 receptions, about 170 yards, and obviously the touchdown to put the Gamecocks on top 24-21. So it's obviously ending the season with a W is huge. We really needed this. Spurrier obviously never had a losing record at South Carolina, so that was huge for us not to go into the season with a loss. Good little momentum to carry us into what's going to be a very questionable offseason. A lot of questions need to be answered. Obviously, the most important one is going to be who's going to be our quarterback next year.
Speaking of quarterback, what's your take on how Dylan played this year, and do you think he could have played any better? Or
I think Dylan had obviously one of the best seasons of any quarterback in Gamecock history. I mean, obviously our record's not where we want it to be, but statistically, I mean, he has pretty much been there for us in every single game. You can talk about those few turnovers that he does have were key in swinging the momentum of certain games, but overall, I mean, you really couldn't ask much more of him at all. I mean, he's scored enough points. We've scored enough points in every game to win the game, and obviously we know the whole story of the year. Our defense, letting up late, giving up some leads late, but overall, I think Dylan's had an amazing season, and I think it's going to take a while for a lot of Gamecock fans to get over this season. But a couple seasons from now, when we get things back rolling again and get some of these new recruits back in here, I think people are going to look back on this year that Dylan had for us and say, "Wow, he really had a special season."
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I gave Dylan 12 picks going into the year. I think he finished with 14, but he's probably passed more than any quarterback in the Spurrier area. I mean, I think it's close to 30 pass attempts a game. So, I mean, there's going to be mistakes there. It's his first year starting. But there were some games that he single-handedly kept us in the game, along with him and Pharaoh Cooper. Enough can't be said about Pharaoh and what he's done this year. He's he's ran for touchdowns. He's had 2 rushing touchdowns. He's thrown for 2 touchdowns, and he's caught 9 touchdowns. He's
wow.
In my opinion, he's probably the best all-purpose player in college football right now. I can't think of anybody off the top of the head that could compete.
No doubt about it. I mean, he's going to be in the discussion. Hopefully it's not during the preseason. I don't like all the preseason Heisman talk, but obviously with the production he's putting out and what we got coming back next year, he's definitely going to be in the Heisman talk. And like I said, hopefully there's not too much hype in the offseason. We know how that goes. But I think that no matter what's said about him, he could live up to the hype. So how do you think, obviously, we didn't have the record we wanted to, that many Gamecock fans thought we were going to have, finish the season with a winning record, 7-6. What do you think led to this season? Obviously, you look at the Texas A&M game, we lost that game. There's no doubt about it. We weren't in the game, we lost the game. Clemson game, as much as I hate to say it, we lost the game. I mean, we could not stop them, and obviously they could stop us when they needed to. But you look at the other 4 losses we've had, and we all know the story here, but the other 4 losses we had, Auburn, Tennessee, Missouri, Kentucky, I don't even want to say it, Kentucky, by a total of 18 points.
Right.
So, again, our offense, we were in the game. Our offense kept us in the game, and we were in the games late. Like I said, we all know the story. We just could not hold them. So, what other factors, or what do you think, led us to the season we've had, and what went wrong?
Yeah, the best way to put it to me is that we've had the exact opposite of Florida State. They've been able to win all these close games. Now, granted, the fact that, like you said, there's 2 games that we honestly had no chance in. The Clemson game, I think we did have a chance. Maybe play calling. We're right there on the 3-yard line, and we throw it 3 out of 4 times. That was pretty ugly, but like you said, the season comes down to the defensive play, and it just seems like there was no adjustments, or we didn't have the right people on the field at the right time, or we just kept getting beat consistently over the middle, or
down the middle was huge this year. I mean, teams, when you saw a big play happen, most of the time this season it was down the middle. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Dylan threw the ball 451 attempts this year, 451 times. I mean, it's absolutely amazing to throw the ball that much.
In the college game.
Yeah, no doubt. Mike Davis, almost 200 carries this year. Came real close to 1,000 yards, obviously, just shy of it.
I think back to that Kentucky game, and we're talking about over the middle, and that Wildcat. They single-handedly beat us with that Wildcat.
Oh yeah,
down the middle every time. It is, we didn't stack the box or nothing. It was just, it was painful to watch. It really was.
In the Tennessee game, I mean, a heartbreaking loss in overtime at home.
Yeah, you're talking about a game where, Dylan Thompson threw for 347 yards, a touchdown. He did have 1 pick. Pharaoh Cooper, once again, showed who he was. He had 11 receptions for 233 yards and 2 touchdowns. But once again, it came down to the defense in that game. And we gave up, 166 yards to their quarterback running the ball, and he had 3 touchdowns. We eventually went into overtime with Tennessee, and our last possession, couldn't be any uglier. We had 2 sacks, an incomplete pass, and then we left it up to Elliott Fry for a 58-yard field goal.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to ask of our kicker. 58 yards definitely would have been a season long. So obviously, the season wasn't what we had hoped it would be. But we did finish strong. We finished the season 7-6. But the good news is we've got a lot of help coming in, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, one player that obviously everybody's excited about, a guy that can come in and play right away, Arcavius Lewis. I mean, if you watch this tape, it's a horror movie. It's a horror show. It's amazing what this guy can do. He's ready. He's played at the junior college level, and I think he's going to come in and play right away.
Right, I would agree with you. Another guy that I think is going to come in and make an immediate impact is Sherrod Pittman. These two guys can, make a big difference on a weak line, and it's as simple as that. The defensive line this year was just, they got no push at all. Another guy coming in is Shamik Blackshear. These guys are going to compete right away, and they're going to get a chance to play. And if you practice well and you put in the work, then you're going to get your shot. And these guys have to come in and prove they want to play and prove that they will play and make a difference.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the other part of the equation too is we're going to be deep, especially with the new guys coming in at certain positions on the field. Obviously, the linebacker position is going to be very full, so it's going to be up to these coaches to kind of figure out where people fit, get them moved around. Do we move some linebackers to corner? Do we move some linebackers to line? I mean, do we? I know we did a couple little experiments throughout the season to kind of get people moved around, but that's going to be the ultimate question is because I think a lot of these guys are going to come in and compete right away, but where are we going to put some of these players and where they fit best? Pharaoh Cooper, he came in and, obviously wanted to play defense. Spurrier said very early on that he liked him better on the offensive side of the ball, and look how that turned out. So let's get these guys where they fit the best, where they play the best. Obviously, we've got some great recruits coming in, some great athletes coming in, and the question's going to be, where are we going to put them and where are they going to play the best?
Speaking of recruiting, the spring, the whole offseason is going to be centered around who's the quarterback going to be next year. And you have a guy like Lorenzo Nunez coming in. You have guys like Connor Mitch, who sat the pine this year, played sparingly. A guy like Perry Orth, none of them, either one of them wasn't real impressive in their spot duty. But what's your take on Lorenzo Nunez and the quarterback battle going into next year?
I mean, yeah, I think obviously Lorenzo Nunez, 4-star, amazing athlete. Again, his highlight tape is unbelievable. But yeah, he's a dual threat. I mean, he comes in, he fits that system we've been running recently that seems to be working for us. Now, whether he gets a chance to play it or not, I don't think he does. His first year, obviously, he's coming in a little late, and Spurrier doesn't really like to play. I mean, he hasn't really had a track record of playing true freshmen. So
yeah, you're right. Spurrier has never started a true freshman.
Yeah.
But if I'd have to say this, this could break the cycle. Lorenzo Nunez kind of fits the offense that Spurrier likes to run now. He's had some big-time offers. He's had offers from Wisconsin, Clemson, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Ohio State. Honestly, this guy reminds me of a Savell Newton if Savell Newton came in as a pure quarterback.
Yeah, he's more than just a gimmick quarterback. He's more than just a guy who can run the ball. Looking at his highlight tape and everything that I've read, I mean, he's accurate with the throw. I mean, he's a guy who he's a total package. I mean, he's going to get you the tough yards on third and short that you need, but he's also going to be able to zip the ball around the field, and I think that's going to really entice Spurrier. I think it's really going to he's going to be good battle, definitely, no doubt. I mean, I think that he's going to come in and battle. I mean,
yeah, you're right. Nunez is a pass-first quarterback. He has the mobility, but he looks to pass the ball first. And to me, we're talking about mobile quarterbacks. You have Connor Shaw. To me, Connor Shaw was not essentially a pass-first quarterback. He made one or two reads and then maybe looked to get out the pocket.
Yeah, anytime you have a dual threat quarterback, you kind of want them to make all your reads and progressions first. I mean, obviously, if the hole's there, you hit it. Let's get the yards. I mean, however means possible, but you want your quarterback to be a throw first kind of guy. But obviously, we've got a lot of help coming in, so that kind of just puts the icing on the cake for the offseason. We've got so many questions. There's going to be a lot of talk back and forth between everybody over the offseason on who's going to come in, play right away, and where they're going to play. So looking forward to it, no doubt. Kind of see if we can't rebound from this sort of disappointing season, but a winning season, no doubt.
Yeah, this offseason is probably going to be one of the more funner off seasons that we've had in a while. But
it gives a chance for us hacks to talk about it for sure.
Exactly, and it's like I said, it's going to be exciting, and there's going to be position battles all over the place.
Fun to watch, no doubt. So, speaking of quarterbacks, getting their first start, obviously, big day yesterday with Connor Shaw getting his first start for the Cleveland Browns. Kind of had an as expected game. I mean, it's very difficult to start your first NFL game, much less against a team like the Ravens, who are known for getting after the quarterback, making their days miserable. I think he did all right. I mean, he held on the ball too long at times. The speed of the game, you could tell, was getting to him. He kind of settled in as the game went on, had a couple of good passes, but overall, I think he did all right. It's very hard to judge somebody based upon their first NFL game. I think if you look back over time, a lot of the great NFL quarterbacks had horrible first games. I know Tom Brady comes to mind. But Peyton Manning. I mean, you can't judge somebody by their first game. But overall, I think he did pretty good, kind of as expected. He kind of managed the game. You could tell they kind of didn't give him a whole lot of chances to throw the ball, especially in the beginning. They kind of tailored the game plan sort of around him in that run game. But as the run game kind of stalled, they kind of opened up the playbook a little more towards the end of the game. But overall, I think it was a good first start. Not great, obviously, but it's very hard to have a great first start in the NFL.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Connor Shaw was pretty much Connor Shaw. If you go back to his college days, he took care of the ball for the most part, even though he had 2 turnovers. One was he was under center, and I believe they had a new center starting yesterday as well. And the other was a pick, but to me, Connor Shaw is he's a game manager, and he can take care of the ball for you, not force many turnovers, and if you have a good defense, good running game, he's your guy. As far as putting the game on his shoulders, I'm not sure how that goes, but that's bound to be found out. He was an undrafted free agent, and they took a guy named Johnny Manziel, 14th overall in the NFL draft, if I'm not mistaken. And that kid, he doesn't put in the work that a Connor Shaw will. That's the thing. Connor Shaw, he'll outwork you on the field and off the field. He'll beat you in the gym every day. He'll beat you to the playbook every day. He doesn't have the arm talent or the athleticism in my mind to be that guy, so to speak. But he puts in the work ethic to give himself a chance, and I think that's something to respect. You have a guy like Johnny Manziel who just lives off of talent. Because don't get me wrong, in my opinion, Johnny Manziel has the most talent on that Browns roster as far as quarterback is concerned. But it just seems like he doesn't want it. And Connor Shaw, being a high school coach's son, a coach's son period, he's got that work ethic, in his DNA. And, he's going to do what he has to do to take the next step. And I think that's what gives him a chance in the NFL. And, if you let him hang around long enough, he'll take your job, if you're Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and another thing about Connor Shaw, I mean, is the Browns the right system for him? I mean, I think if if he puts in the work, I mean, the Browns are a train wreck. Who knows what they're going to do? I mean, it's going to be so tough going in the offseason with the speculation of them possibly even sitting Manziel. I mean, how are you going to answer to the fans of you even sitting Manziel for Shaw? So for that reason, I think Shaw is just in a bad position. Hats off to the Browns for giving him a chance, but I think if Manziel wouldn't have partied all night the Friday before the game, maybe Manziel would have started. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, hats off to them for giving him a chance, but I just don't think that Shaw is in the right team. I mean, he's just not in the right position or the organization to thrive. I mean, so hopefully he gets another couple of games under his belt, and maybe another team looks at him, and another team that will give him a shot, and maybe a little better organization and a better run team, and a better system that maybe fits his style. Because he definitely has a particular style of play.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. And I don't know that the quote-unquote Manziel party is a fact. To me, it just seems like a lot of speculation, which I wouldn't be surprised if it was true. But Manziel has a lot of growing up to do, and you have a dedicated, undrafted free agent basically versus first round pick, who doesn't want to do the work. And to me, if I'm a GM, I take the guy who puts in the work and comes to work every day. You don't have to worry about him showing up late. Granted, they may not be the best talent, so to speak, that's on the team, but they put in the work and they want to be there. And
the team responds to that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know that after the game, the team kind of came to Connor Shaw's not defense, but they kind of just stepped up for him and said, "Look, this guy put in the work, and they were on his back," and that speaks volumes because even if the party did or didn't happen, I mean, a lot of teammates came out against it and said, these guys, who do they think they are? When they come in here. So the whole team, you need everybody to play on the same page. Obviously, the NFL is not about one person; it's about a team. Coming together and playing as one. And when you have a leader at quarterback, and that's what I think Shaw really, he is. He really is. He lets his play speak for him. He's the first one there, the last one to leave. So, like you said, even if you're not the greatest talent in the world, that leadership is really uncommon. And I think a lot of players that can surround themselves with that, and I think they play better because of it.
Right, and I can agree to a certain point. But I want to ask you this: do you want your franchise? Do you want the Cleveland Browns brand hinging on the name Connor Shaw?
Yeah, and for that reason, I don't think they're going to do that. Obviously, the Brian Hoyer experiment didn't work out, and who knows? He may be back next year. But yeah, they're not gonna draft Manziel for him to sit on the bench. So they're going to still play that avenue, I think. And like I said, Connor Shaw's just in a bad position right now. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, you're right. I just don't think that the Browns make that, put all their chips in, so to speak, on Connor Shaw based upon that one final season game and the preseason game that he played in. So it's going to be an interesting offseason on the Browns camp as well as the Gamecocks camp. There's a lot of questions there as well, but I just kind of wish he was on a different team and get a better opportunity. And with that, we kind of want to talk a little bit about obviously today is Black Monday, recording this on a Monday, so it's Black Monday. A lot of firings happening all around the NFL. One close to home that a lot of people are eyeing is Mike Smith down in Atlanta. There's a lot of talk all over the NFL right now about, poaching different SEC coaches away. I know that Nick Saban's name is obviously mentioned every time an NFL job comes up. Les Miles, obviously a name that comes up a lot. But it's going to be interesting to see as these positions open up in the NFL, if some of these SEC coaches tries their hand maybe the first time or maybe again in the NFL. I know it's some of these guys have it made, so to speak, in the position that they're in, and I just don't really see them making a move to the NFL, especially a guy like Nick Saban.
Right.
I mean, he's tried that, been there, done that. He's in a perfect position, and the argument is, what else does he have left to do? But that's just not a valid argument to go to a place like Atlanta. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Especially the NFC South. I mean, they've had a really tough year. A lot of people going into the season thought it was going to be another tough division, as it always has been. But obviously that didn't pan out this year. But yeah, I just don't see somebody like Nick Saban or anybody else from the SEC going to Atlanta.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I don't see Nick going anywhere. I don't see what he has to gain in going into the NFL. He's got it made at Alabama right now. They're contention year in and year out. They're top 5 recruiting class every year. I don't see why he would leave to go to a place like Atlanta, who is, up in arms basically as a franchise. I guess you could say anybody in NFC South right now. I don't see why anybody would go to that division, but it's going to be interesting to see play out because money talks. And it has
definitely
before to Nick Saban, so who knows? I mean, Jim Harbaugh is, it looks as if he's going to Michigan. And, him and the 49ers agreed to terms, quote unquote, so to speak. But, essentially money talks, and, he's going to be the highest paid college football coach as it appears. So
yeah, no doubt. And not only head coaches, I mean, you got the position guys out there. Rex Ryan, obviously, getting the boot in New York. So there's, will he go back to the college ranks and become a defensive coordinator again? And, a lot of eyes on him for that. I mean, I think that would be a perfect fit for him. Go back to college for a couple years, become a defensive coordinator, become successful, and then, he's a player's coach. So I think, he could get another shot in the NFL, even if he doesn't go back to college. I think right now somebody would give him another shot based upon how the players respond to him. Obviously, he didn't get it done in New York. That's sort of a train wreck up there of a program as well. But it's going to be very interesting to see. There's a lot of coaching vacancies all over the NFL as well as the college ranks, and it's going to be interesting to see how they all play out. But that's all the time we have for today. We appreciate you joining us for the very first Block C show. And we really appreciate everybody liking us, following us on Facebook and on Twitter at Block C Blog for both. We're really looking forward to revamping the website over the next couple months. It's blockcblog.com. And we're bringing on some new members to the team. We got Heath, we got Justin, we got Merrick, and we got Jarrett Davis. Also the regulars, we got Rev Z, we got Rachel holding it down on social media. We got Robbie, Ryan Hood, and myself. We really appreciate all the likes, all the support, and everybody has been one solid Gamecock family over the past year, and we greatly appreciate it. We look forward to bringing you the best we possibly can in 2015. Go Cox.